The Luftwaffe fielded over 100 different aircraft during World War II, from the iconic Stuka dive bomber to jets that were decades ahead of their time. This is every single German aircraft that ruled the skies, terrorized the ground, and changed aerial warfare forever. Let's break them down. Fighters. Messerschmitt Bf-109, the backbone of the Luftwaffe. Over 33,000 were built, making it the most produced fighter in history. Armed with machine guns and cannons, it dominated early war skies from Poland to the Battle of Britain. Fast, agile, and deadly, this was Germany's aerial workhorse. Messerschmitt Bf-110, a twin-engine heavy fighter designed as a long-range escort and destroyer. While it struggled against nimble Spitfires, it excelled as a night fighter, equipped with radar to hunt British bombers in the dark. Focke-Wulf FW-190. This beast arrived in 1941 and shocked the Allies. More powerful and heavily armed than the Bf-109, it could outperform almost anything in the sky. Pilots called it the Butcher Bird, and for good reason. Heinkel HE-162 Volksjäger, the People's Fighter, a desperate late-war jet made from wood and built by slave labor. It was fast but dangerous to fly, often killing its own pilots, a symbol of Germany's crumbling war effort. Messerschmitt Me-163 Komet, the only rocket-powered fighter to see combat. It could climb to 30,000 feet in under 3 minutes and hit 600 miles per hour, but it had only minutes of fuel, and its propellant could dissolve pilots on impact, deadly in every sense. Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter. With a top speed of 540 miles per hour, it could shred Allied bombers before their escorts even reacted. If deployed earlier in larger numbers, it could have changed the war. Focke-Wulf TA-152, the ultimate evolution of the FW-190, designed for high-altitude interception. Long wings, pressurized cockpit, and insane performance above 40,000 feet. Only a handful saw combat before the war ended. Dive bombers and ground attack. Junkers Ju-87 Stuka. The scream of the Stuka is burned into history. Its wailing sirens terrified troops as it plummeted vertically to release bombs with pinpoint accuracy. Slow and vulnerable to fighters, it was devastating when air superiority was secured. Henschel HS-129, built like a flying tank. This ground attack aircraft had a bathtub of armor around the cockpit and carried a 30mm cannon to punch through Soviet armor. Ugly, slow, but brutally effective on the Eastern Front. Henschel HS-123, a biplane in World War II. Yes, this rugged dive bomber refused to die, serving throughout the war in close air support roles. Pilots loved its durability and ability to operate from dirt fields. Focke-Wulf FW-189 Uhu, the Flying Eye. This twin-boom reconnaissance plane had a glass cockpit offering 360-degree visibility. Soviet troops called it the Frame and hated it because it meant artillery strikes were incoming. Bombers. Heinkel HE-111, the iconic medium bomber of the Blitz. With its distinctive greenhouse nose, it pounded London and other cities. While effective early on, it became increasingly vulnerable to fighters and flak. Dornier DO-17, nicknamed the Flying Pencil for its slender fuselage. Fast for its time, it served as a medium bomber during the Battle of Britain, but was gradually phased out for heavier aircraft. Junkers Ju-88, the most versatile aircraft in the Luftwaffe. It served as a bomber, dive bomber, night fighter, torpedo bomber, and reconnaissance plane. Over 15,000 were built, and it performed every role with competence. Heinkel HE-177 Greif, Germany's only long-range heavy bomber, and a disaster. Its coupled engines constantly caught fire, earning it the nickname Flaming Coffin. It was supposed to bomb the Urals and America. It barely got off the ground. Arado R-234 Blitz, the world's first operational jet bomber. Fast enough that Allied fighters couldn't catch it, it conducted reconnaissance over Britain with impunity and bombed bridges during the Battle of the Bulge. Focke-Wulf FW-200 Condor. Originally a civil airliner, it was converted into a long-range maritime patrol bomber. Churchill called it the scourge of the Atlantic because it hunted Allied convoys and guided U-boats to targets. Night fighters. Junkers Ju-88 night fighter variants. Fitted with radar, cannons, and upward-firing guns called Schrager-Musik, these hunters devastated British bomber streams. Crews would sneak underneath bombers and fire into their bellies undetected. Henschel Fe-219 Uhu, the Owl, the best night fighter Germany produced. It had radar, ejection seats, and devastating firepower. Unfortunately, only 300 were built due to production priorities favoring other aircraft. Dornier Do-217, a versatile bomber that also served as a night fighter. It carried heavy cannons and radar, making it effective against Allied night raids. Transport and gliders. Junkers Ju-52, the legendary Tante Ju or Auntie Ju. This three-engine transport was the workhorse of German airborne operations, dropping paratroopers over Crete and supplying encircled armies at Stalingrad. Messerschmitt Me-323 Gigant, the largest land-based transport of the war. This six-engine monster could carry 130 troops or a panzer tank. Slow, unmaneuverable, and a massive target, many were slaughtered by Allied fighters. DFS-230, the silent assassin. This assault glider carried troops into battle without engine noise, landing on top of fortresses like Belgium's Fort Eben-Elm in one of the war's most daring raids. Gotha GO-242, a large cargo glider used to transport supplies and troops, deployed extensively on the Eastern Front, often towed by HE-111 bombers. Reconnaissance. Focke-Wulf FW-189 Uhu. Already mentioned, but worth repeating, this twin-boom spotter was the bane of Soviet forces. Fieseler Fe-156 Storch, the ultimate observation plane. It could land and take off in 200 feet, hover like a helicopter, and operate from anywhere. It famously rescued Mussolini from a mountaintop fortress. Blohm and Voss BV-138, a triple-engine flying boat used for maritime patrol. Its unusual design earned it the nickname Flying Clog, but it was effective at spotting Allied ships. Experimental and rare. Bachem BA-349 Natter, a vertical launch rocket interceptor. The pilot would be launched straight up, fire rockets at bombers, then parachute out. It was barely tested and only flew once in combat. Blohm and Voss BV-141, the most asymmetrical aircraft ever built. The cockpit sat on one side, the engine on the other. It worked surprisingly well, but was never mass-produced. Dornier 335 Pfeil, the fastest piston-engine fighter of the war, with engines in the front and rear. It could outrun almost anything, but it arrived too late to matter. Horten HO-229, a jet-powered flying wing, decades ahead of its time. Designed to be stealthy and fast, it was the ancestor of modern stealth bombers. Only prototypes flew before the war ended. From the legendary Bf-109 to jets that shaped the future, the Luftwaffe pushed the boundaries of aviation. Some were masterpieces, others were desperate experiments, but together they tell the story of Germany's air war, innovative, deadly, and ultimately overwhelmed. That's every German aircraft used in World War II. Subscribe, like, and check out the playlist for more World War II breakdowns.